everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Two Free OG's Dry Fire Fridays. We're back in the space. The shit's working. We got Doug actually today. Doug decided to come in and hop in the dry fire session. So we had a good session. There was entries and exits we were working on, throttle control, getting to a position, slowing down, speeding back up, a whole bunch of running. It was a 4-position drill. You start at the first position, shoot 2 shots, run up and take 2 more shots at the second position, kind of backtrack lateral movement to the 3rd position, 2 shots there, and then the last position is a full sprint, and then 2 more shots there. We kind of tried to model the drill after something that you possibly see in a USPSA match or some kind of 2-gun match where there's short sprints, getting to a position, making sure you're getting on target, taking your shots, and getting out of that position as soon as you possibly can. It's a very tiring drill. I wish I could do it for a little bit longer distance, but the short distance is also really good for you. That's all I got for you guys. If you watched this in its entirety, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Two Free OG's Dry Fire Fridays. We're back at home. I actually did go to D-Chap's garage earlier this week, but I actually didn't film anything like a stupid idiot, so you got me in my living room today. I love getting feedback on matches after I post them because it's always giving me something to work on, and I did get some feedback from a classifier I shot at the last SLOC match. On 2409 Tres Cajas, I was not moving as efficiently as I could have been on the stage. If you watch the video back, I was kind of erratic. I was moving kind of crazy. My footing wasn't there, and I was having a lot of tension in my hands, which caused a lot of the trigger freeze issues that I was having. So the main focus on today's Dry Fire Friday was entries and exits, but also making sure my gun was on target when I was entering a position. I could have cut down, I want to say, a second of my time with not being tense in my hands, for one, and trigger freezing, but 2, I could have cut down some time by just being ready and available to shoot whenever I got to a position. When I got to my middle position in that stage, I had a lot of time to shoot that target, but my gun wasn't up and ready to shoot. So with all this work that I'm doing right now, hopefully I can mitigate that in the future. I think it's easy for me to be hard on myself because I'm looking back at it and I can't really explain how I was feeling at that time. But I think with the idea of me wanting to get a GM score, I moved a little bit more erratic than I should have, and I guess not paid attention to having my gun up on target when it really should have been. But I'm glad I can get feedback from other people. I'm always looking forward to how I can level up my game and how I can fix anything to make my shooting more efficient, because I am trying to get GM and I don't want to do it by just doing classifier stuff. I think the one thing that's stopping me from being a GM right now is just efficiency and movement, as well as tension in my hands. I'm just being really tense when I'm coming to shooting stages, and I need to really calm that down a lot. So I'm very aware of the things I need to do, and I'm fixing them as I can. And that's all I got for you guys today. If you watched this in its entirety, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another installment of Two Free OG's Dry Fire Fridays. It seems like every dry fire session I'm working more and more on my vision. So today we're back to designated target things. I'll talk about it in the previous Dry Fire Friday, but designated target is basically me choosing one target to be my same target that I shoot, and I just keep transitioning to other targets and coming back to the same target each time. It really gets your eyes moving, it really gets your hands moving, and I really wanted to try some things out today because I've been doing a little bit of research. So Travis Tomasi and Greg Clement actually made a YouTube video on Travis's page. Go check it out if you want to. And it was basically about transition styles, whether it be rainbow transitions, straight arm transitions, or pulling the gun back into you and then presenting back out to a target. And it really piqued my interest because it's something I never really think about when I'm transitioning to targets. Sometimes I keep a straight arm thing, but sometimes I like to do pulling into my chest and pushing back out. So I wanted to experiment with a couple things today. Except for rainbow transitions, I've never really been good at them. They never really seem to work out for me. There's some people that kill it, like Siler, that's constantly rainbowing throughout the stage. But me personally, I think the pulling into my chest and pushing back out works a lot better for me. And it kind of makes sense because we practice this all the time. We practice the draw and pushing out from here every single time. So it feels much better when I'm going from target to target by pulling in and pushing back out. Now I will say they did this study for targets between 90 and I believe like 180 degrees. So you kind of have to go out of your eyesight to get to that target. That's when you would utilize either a straight arm, swing over, or compress to the chest and then push back over. For targets right next to each other, I just keep a straight arm because it saves you a little bit of time. But if you're kind of going out of your way to find a target, I think the pulling in to compress and then sticking right back out is probably the fastest thing, at least for me. Everybody's different. Figure out what works best for you, and if it works for you, go ahead and do it. I feel like this is a more than typical yap session, so I'm sorry. But if you watch this in its entirety, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another installment of 2FreeOG's Draft Fight Fridays. All right, so you want the good news or the bad news? Too bad for you, you can't tell me what you want, so you're gonna get the bad news. Bad news is, the barrel's cooked. So if you remember back when I had that issue with my muzzle device being blown the hell up, I thought everything was okay when I just replaced the muzzle device, but it seems like everything's not okay, and I'm having really bad keyholding issues or tumbling issues with bullets coming out of my barrel. I took it to the range, I think a couple days ago, and I tried to run some rounds through it, and the last 3 rounds that I shot all came out sideways, like from, 10 to 15 yards away. So that's not good at all. Meaning I'm in the market for a new barrel. That should be coming sometime soon. But the good news is I know some cool f***ing people and they let me use things that are also really f***ing cool. I just dropped a video on this whole situation, but this is the rifle that I used last year for most of the season because I was also having rifle issues. And this is the DD-M4 V9 that Fred has let me borrow again for the rest of the rifle season. So I'm excited because I ran the piss out of this rifle last season, and I'm planning on doing the exact same thing this season. So that should be fun. So bad news is we're down a rifle. Good news is we're up something until we're able to afford parts for the old rifle. I won't have a chance to run it until next weekend at the Berry County match, but I'm sure it'll run fine. I'm just really excited to get back out there and do it again. It sucks I'm gonna have to spend some money on a new barrel, but it was about that time anyway. That rifle was old and just been used and beat up on. So I also hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, so that's exciting. I'm very glad about that, and I'm happy that I'm doing well at it. I'm just hoping to keep on continuing doing well and try to keep my content consistent. And hopefully good things will come out of YouTube in the future. And that's all I got for you guys. If you watched this in its entirety, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of 2FreeOG's Draft Fire Fridays. I've been exploring the idea of running a full-size gun from Appendix in matches recently, but more specifically at Area 5 because Hunter's giving out $1,000 to the top belt wearer and a random draw for $500 as well. And I don't know about you, but I could use $500 or $1,000 in my life. The shooting is all really the same, it's just the carry position, and then some of the manipulation you do with the gun is a bit different, and it's kind of weird to get used to, especially at full speed in a match. Realistically, if I shoot well enough, I believe I can get away with it. Just maybe losing a couple seconds on a draw, but honestly, it's less of an excuse and more of just a training thing that I need to get through. I still have the dagger, but for the time being, I'm just running my 47 from Appendix. It's the competition gun that I usually carry. The ideal setup would be a Glock 45, so the shorter slide with the same length frame, that would be my EDC. But until I have the money to upgrade to that, I'll be running this from Appendix. I think I can get away with EDCing a full-size gun for sure. So getting rid of the dagger would be definitely a heartbreak, but getting that 45, I think I'll be a better shoot with that gun than I am with the dagger. So today I worked on the draw, mostly reloads. I have an A3 EDC match again, the 3rd one of the year, and that's on Monday. So I'm actually gonna be running a 47 this time instead of the dagger. So I'm just gonna get myself accustomed to drawing from it, reloading from it, and seeing what I could do with it. And that's really all I got for you guys. If you haven't seen it, I have a Q&A up on my YouTube right now for me hitting 1,000 subs on YouTube. So I'm really grateful for that. I answered a lot of questions. A lot of you guys asked me some questions and I answered them. So definitely check that video out if you haven't. If you watched this in its entirety, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another installment of 2FreeOG's Draft Fight Fridays. The forehead's back out in effect. It's shining. It's hot outside. We inside sweating for the love of the game. I've been missing the rifle platform since I haven't had any rifle matches recently. So I brought back out the Mantis and I did a little mini short course inside the house. For the bigger targets, I'm focusing on the head box. For the smaller targets, I'm usually just aiming for A-zone. I do have a question though. For anybody that actually dry fires with these mini targets, are you aiming like here when they're on the wall? Cause like with the Mantis, right? The Mantis, when I aim my dot, obviously it's lower because of height over bore. But when I'm dry firing, I don't know whether or not to be compensating for height over bore or if I should be holding exactly where I should. I don't know. If you give me any advice, I'll take it. Cause I have no idea really what to do on these, but if you'll see from the video, I'm kind of just aiming directly on and the dot's hitting below where it usually would be on the target. I've been doing a lot of pistol dry fire this week. Mostly from Appendix because I think I'm actually taking this Appendix stuff a little bit more serious. I think I'm gonna actually start shooting it in places where they actually allow Appendix. Other places that don't, I'll continue to do outside the waistband stuff, but up until Area 5, I might be doing as many Appendix matches as I possibly can, so be looking out for that change. And that's all I got for you guys. If you watched this in its entirety, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you next Friday. Hopefully. I see why these are cool back in the day.